There is perhaps no bond stronger than the connection between a parent and a child. It begins at birth and usually grows stronger with time. But what happens when that connection is broken?
I was adopted when I was 6 weeks old. And the records were closed. It was through a welfare agency that I was adopted.
Separated a lifetime from one another, does the bond between parent and child still exist?
In 2005, the Fox network aired a reality special called Who's Your Daddy? It was packaged like a glamorous dating show, borrowing elements from programs like The Bachelor, luxury settings, a mansion, and elimination rounds. But instead of romance, the premise revolved around something far more sensitive. A young woman who had been adopted at birth was placed in a mansion with 8 middle-aged men. One of them was her real biological father. The other 7 were imposters pretending to be him. Her job was to determine which man was truly her father. The reward was $100,000. The rules were harsh. If she correctly identified her real father, she would win the prize money. But if she chose the wrong man, the imposter she selected would receive the money instead. The incentive encouraged deception. The woman at the center of the show had grown up without knowing her biological father. That emotional vulnerability became the core of the series. Each week, the contestants attempted to build emotional connections with her, competing through staged bonding activities and heartfelt conversations. In one clip that still circulates online, a contestant looks directly at her and says, "I want you to know that you were conceived in absolute love."
Your mother didn't want her pregnancy to be the way our relationship, our marriage started. It was a very turbulent time. I'd already made the decision to go into Vietnam. We weren't sure what was going to happen, and she wasn't going to be able to take care of you by herself. And so she made the decision, and I accepted it. We questioned it, believe me, we...
So she wanted to keep me too, honestly?
Yes. I want you to know you were conceived in absolute love, and I loved your mother very, very much. There wasn't a day that went by that I didn't think about you and regret what we did.
Are you serious?
The woman begins crying as he continues speaking. Later, viewers discover the truth. The man delivering the emotional story was not her father at all. He was an actor hired to deceive her. Adoption advocacy groups immediately condemned the show. Critics argued that the deeply personal search for biological identity had been turned into a game show, complete with financial incentives and emotional manipulation. The backlash was immediate. Fox quickly canceled the program. 5 additional episodes had already been filmed, but they never aired on the main network. Instead, they were quietly released later with little publicity on Fox Reality Channel. The experiment ended almost as quickly as it began, but the ethical questions surrounding it never disappeared. And while public outrage stopped that show early, another reality series would go even further, with consequences that could never be undone. By 2009, the network VH1 was riding the peak of reality television popularity. Programs like Rock of Love, Flavor of Love, and I Love Money dominated ratings. Building on that success, the network created another series centered on wealth and extravagance. Megan Wants a Millionaire. The concept was exactly what the title suggested. Megan Hauserman, a former Rock of Love contestant, had joked that she didn't just want romance, she wanted a wealthy partner. VH1 turned that comment into a reality show. 17 men claiming to be millionaires competed for her affection, but only 3 episodes ever aired.
There's a big suitcase, so I took my middle finger and I just lifted up, and sure enough, it looks like a body.
It's for sure a body?
Yeah, yeah.
On August 15th, 2009, a suitcase was discovered in a dumpster in Buena Park, California. Inside was the body of 28-year-old swimsuit model Jasmine Fiore, who had recently moved from Las Vegas to Los Angeles. Her body had been severely mutilated. Her teeth and fingers had been removed. She had been strangled and stuffed into the suitcase. Investigators struggled to identify her until they traced the serial numbers on her breast implants. The identification came back. Jasmine Fiore. Almost immediately, detectives focused on a man connected to the case, Ryan Jenkins. Jenkins had been a contestant on Megan Wants a Millionaire, presenting himself as a successful real estate investor. What viewers didn't know was that shortly after being eliminated from the show, Jenkins met Fiore in Las Vegas. Within days, they were married. Their relationship was volatile. Reports later revealed frequent arguments, jealousy, and prior incidents of violence. On August 14th, the couple checked into the L'Auberge Del Mar Hotel in San Diego to attend a charity poker event. Security cameras showed them leaving the hotel together around 2:30 a.m. They later appeared at a nightclub downtown. Around 4:30 a.m., Jenkins returned to the hotel alone. Jasmine Fiore was never seen alive again. The next morning, Jenkins checked out of the hotel. Later that evening, he reported Fiore missing, claiming she had gone out to run errands and never came back. On August 18th, her body was officially identified. VH1 reacted quickly. On August 19th, the network quietly removed Megan Wants a Millionaire from its broadcast schedule. One day later, Jenkins was charged with Fiore's murder. The show disappeared completely from VH1's programming, and all references were removed from the network's website. Another show Jenkins had filmed, I Love Money 3, was also canceled before airing. A nationwide manhunt began. Jenkins fled Los Angeles, retrieved his speedboat in Nevada, and traveled north. His abandoned BMW was later discovered near a marina in Blaine, Washington. Authorities believed he had crossed into Canada by boat. On August 20th, Jenkins checked into the Thunderbird Motel in Hope, British Columbia. Witnesses later said he appeared exhausted and looked very different from his television persona. 3 days later, the motel manager entered his room and discovered Jenkins dead. An investigation later revealed Jenkins had a prior history of violence. In 2007, he had been convicted of assault, and earlier in 2009, he had been charged with assaulting Fiore in Las Vegas. None of this had been uncovered during casting. The production company had not conducted a criminal background check. A man with a violent history had been placed on national television, with deadly consequences. If you're enjoying this video, why not hit that subscribe button? That helps us to find the best videos for you guys, and it's a positive feedback. By 2014, the television show Cops had already been running for more than 20 years, making it one of the longest-running reality series in American history. The program followed real police officers as they worked, documenting everything from traffic stops and domestic calls to drug busts and robberies. Its appeal came from its authenticity. Viewers were watching real events unfold in real time. On the night of Tuesday, August 26, 2014, the production crew was finishing its final week of filming in Omaha, Nebraska. They had been working alongside the Omaha Police Department since June. Around 9:20 p.m., Detective Darren Cunningham responded to a report of a robbery in progress at a Wendy's restaurant in downtown Omaha. He immediately requested backup. 2 more officers arrived within seconds. Inside one of the patrol cars were members of the cops crew, cameraman Michael Lee and audio technician Bryce Dion. When officers entered the restaurant, the crew followed them inside with their equipment. 2 officers moved through the front entrance while another circled toward the emergency exit in the back. Inside the restaurant was a 32-year-old man named Cortez Washington. He was holding what appeared to be a gun. At first, Washington seemed unaware of the officer's presence. For a moment, It looked like the situation might be resolved peacefully. But when Washington stepped toward the front counter, the officers identified themselves and ordered him to get on the ground. He refused. Instead, he raised what looked like a handgun and fired. Witnesses later said they saw the slide move and heard at least 2 gunshots aimed toward the officers. Instantly, the situation escalated into a gunfight. Police returned fire immediately. One officer took cover near the hallway leading to the restrooms while continuing to shoot. Another moved forward along the counter. Washington kept firing and moving, even after being struck by bullets. He then tried to run toward the exit with the weapon still raised. Officers continued shooting in an attempt to stop him before he could escape. Amid the chaos, tragedy struck. Sound technician Bryce Dion was hit by gunfire from the police. He had been standing near the entrance hallway with his boom microphone raised overhead to record audio. Although Dion was wearing a bulletproof vest, the bullet entered through an unprotected area beneath his left arm. He collapsed beside his recording equipment. Both Dion and Washington were transported to the University of Nebraska Medical Center. Neither survived. Dion was pronounced dead shortly after arriving. Washington died in the parking lot from multiple gunshot wounds. Later investigations revealed something shocking. The weapon Washington had used was not a real firearm. It was an airsoft pistol designed to resemble a handgun, capable only of firing plastic pellets. In the moment, however, the officers had no way of knowing that. Washington had an extensive criminal history and was on parole in Missouri after serving part of a 7-year sentence for robbery. Just 20 minutes before the Wendy's incident, his girlfriend, 24-year-old Geneva Eris, had robbed a Little Caesars pizza restaurant using the same airsoft gun while Washington waited in the getaway car. The robbery at Wendy's was meant to help him escape afterward. When the shooting started, Eris ran away from the scene. She was later arrested. While awaiting trial in jail, she assaulted a healthcare worker and broke a jailer's hand. Eventually, she accepted a plea deal and received a prison sentence of up to 6 years. Following Bryce Dion's death, his brother Trevor filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city of Omaha. The lawsuit argued that poor communication between dispatch and officers contributed to the tragedy, and that allowing a television crew to accompany police during an active robbery was reckless. When the footage was eventually released, it showed everything: the officers entering the restaurant, the sudden gunfire, and Bryce Dion lying motionless near the wall. A reality show intended to document police work had instead captured a fatal accident. Reality television often thrives on conflict, contrast, and spectacle. The more different the people involved are, the more entertaining the outcome is supposed to be. One show built entirely around that idea was Wife Swap. Its concept was straightforward. 2 families with completely opposite lifestyles would exchange mothers for 2 weeks. Cameras followed as each woman adapted to unfamiliar rules, values, and daily routines. The goal was that by the end, both households would gain perspective and learn something about how the other lived. In most episodes, the disagreements eventually softened into compromise. But one particular installment didn't simply age badly. Years later, it became deeply unsettling to revisit because of events that unfolded long after the cameras stopped rolling. Almost 10 years after viewers first met the Stockdale family on Wife Swap, their peaceful farmhouse in Ohio became the scene of a tragic shooting. The Stockdales appeared on the program in 2008. They lived in Beach City, Ohio, on a rural farm where discipline and obedience defined daily life. Their household was guided by strict religious beliefs that shaped nearly every aspect of their routine. The children were taught at home instead of attending public school. Dating was not allowed. Television, video games, and mainstream music were completely prohibited. Even harmless entertainment was carefully restricted. Their mother, Catherine Stockdale, explained their philosophy clearly during the episode. According to her, the family's priorities revolved around faith, hard work, and music, specifically music that aligned with their religious values. The entire family performed together as a bluegrass group known as the Stockdale Family Band, which included the parents and their sons. One of the sons, however, barely drew attention at all. Jacob Stockdale appeared quiet, shy, and extremely obedient.
The dating has physical dangers like pregnancy. It's not worth it.
I've never been on a date. There's better ways to find out about girls than...
During the swap portion of the episode, the Stockdales were paired with a temporary mother named Lori Tonkovich. Her parenting philosophy was the complete opposite. She believed children should experience normal parts of life, make their own choices, and enjoy small freedoms.
God, I feel so sad for these kids. I'm gonna take them all home with me. I asked him what he would like to do, if he could do anything, and he doesn't even know. I mean, they need to know that there's other ways of doing things, and then let them decide what they want to do. I didn't realize this was gonna be so hard.
She asked Jacob what he would do if he could choose any activity at all. His response surprised her. He didn't know what to say. Video Tonkovich attempted to introduce the boys to television and video games, not as rebellion against their parents, but as a way to show balance and moderation. But Jacob's reaction shocked her. Instead of excitement or curiosity, he became terrified. He ran outside crying, afraid that his parents might somehow find out. Later, Tonkovich said Jacob seemed genuinely convinced that breaking those rules would bring severe punishment, possibly even eternal consequences. According to her, the fear had been ingrained in him for years.
And I have to get married. I really enjoyed you and your children, okay? But you?
Come on, get up. I need a cigarette.
No wonder they walk around like robots and talk like that.
I need a cigarette.
Talk about my kids. How dare...
Eventually, the episode ended. The cameras left, and life moved on. Then, on June 15th, 2017, 9 years after their appearance, everything changed. Police say Jacob Stockdale, who was 25 years old at the time, shot and killed his mother, Catherine Stockdale, age 54, and his younger brother James, who was 21. The shooting happened inside the same family farmhouse where they had once lived during the television episode. Afterward, Jacob attempted to take his own life but survived. Catherine and James did not. The small Ohio community was stunned. So were viewers who remembered the family from television, the smiling bluegrass musicians, the strict household, and the quiet son who had once cried at the idea of watching television. Jacob's father, Tim Stockdale, was not at home when the shooting occurred. 2 of Jacob's other brothers were living elsewhere. Because of Jacob's medical condition following the incident, he was not immediately charged. Instead, he was placed in a psychiatric facility and later entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. For almost 3 years, the legal process stalled while doctors evaluated whether he was mentally competent to stand trial. Investigators never publicly established a clear motive for the killings. In 2021, Jacob Stockdale admitted responsibility for the deaths. He pleaded guilty and received 2 concurrent prison sentences of 15 years to life. Today, he is serving that sentence in an Ohio state prison, and he is now 33 years old. What happened within that family mostly remained hidden behind closed doors.